XRP has spent years working with a network of central banks from 190 countries, which already engages in a form of decentralized financing. This enormous network has massive plans for XRP that will take it past $1,000 and revolutionize lending between countries. Curious to know more about that? Make sure to stay until the end. Welcome to the Crypto Nights channel, where you get your daily dose of crypto insights. Today you will learn about what the IMF is and what its SDRs do, the IMF's relationship with Ripple, what role XRP will play in this branch of global finance, and what last month's giant new SDR allocation means for the future of XRP. If you love making money and learning about crypto, make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. We drop new videos twice a week to keep you informed about crypto. The International Monetary Fund and special drawing rights. The International Monetary Fund is an institution of the United Nations that sets standards for the global economy with the aim of strengthening its member countries economically. The organization has 190 member countries on its executive board. The ratio of board members from each member country depends on the country's economic strength, with the economic giants getting the highest representation. Voting powers are assigned the same way, where big economies like the US, Japan, China, and Germany have the most voting power when making decisions. Members have to follow a code of conduct, provide their national economic information, and make periodic payments toward a quota. The quotas are larger for countries with stronger economies, and their contributions are pooled for loans other countries can borrow. Member countries have access to the economic records of all member countries, and they can influence other countries' economic policies. A special drawing right, or SDR, is an international reserve asset created by the IMF. It is based on a combination of several currencies: the US dollar, the yen, euro, pound, and Chinese renminbi. It is not a currency or stock, but can be exchanged for currencies. The value of the SDR is set daily by the market exchange rates between the currencies in the SDR basket. SDRs can be held and used by member countries, the IMF, and designated central banks, but not by private entities or individuals. Its status as a reserve asset comes from the commitments of countries to hold and exchange SDRs and accept the value of SDRs as determined by the fund. The SDR also serves as the unit of account of the IMF and some other international organizations, and financial obligations may also be denominated in SDR. You can already see some of the similarities between SDRs and cryptocurrencies. The value of an SDR is not controlled by one government, but instead based on snapshots of the world economy as a whole. It can be used as a store of value that is more resistant to inflation than most currencies, or as collateral for a loan. Governance votes are weighted proportionally to the amount invested. That said, there are some enormous differences between SDRs and cryptocurrencies that are causing problems for the IMF. There is no code governing an SDR, especially when it comes to printing and distributing them. This means countries with large economies can veto decisions that would help other countries that they would rather suppress. The value of an SDR does not depend on its supply or demand, so they are constantly running into the same liquidity issues that they are trying to solve. Transactions involving SDRs are difficult to trace and entirely hidden from the public. And, of course, the public has no access to SDRs. SDRs are notoriously slow, unscalable, and in desperate need of XRP. The IMF is embracing XRP. The IMF has earned criticism for its opacity and centralization, but the role it is trying to fill is needed in today's world. SDRs can help countries with weak reserves decrease their dependence on more debt. And for countries struggling to increase social spending and deal with climate threats, they offer a precious additional resource. A stable global currency can resuscitate drowning economies, and make it easier for governments to make deals with each other. SDRs were useful during the 2009 financial crisis, and they're currently being loaned out to countries that couldn't afford COVID vaccines. SDRs have the potential to be very beneficial for the world if they become transparent, scalable, and decentralized. The IMF has been giving a great deal of thought to cryptocurrencies. It released a 40-page report on the topic in 2016. The report praised cryptocurrencies for their transaction speed and financial inclusion. It recognized them as driving transformational changes in the global economy and exchange of goods, services, and assets. The IMF noted its interest in cryptocurrencies in this report because they can reduce transaction times and costs across borders, deepen financial inclusion by offering secure and lower-cost payments options, and use fast, accurate, and secure record-keeping systems. The report encouraged governments to cooperate with each other to regulate cryptocurrencies in ways that do not stifle innovation. It cited cryptocurrencies' unstable prices and limited mainstream adoption as reasons that it would not yet be considered money in 2016. A few months ago, the IMF released a blog post updating its position on cryptocurrencies. It says that they have the potential to provide cheaper and faster payments, enhance financial inclusion, improve resilience and competition among payment providers, and facilitate cross-border transfers. The blog post criticized countries interested in making Bitcoin a national currency because of Bitcoin's volatility and energy consumption. The blog post ended with a call for governments to keep developing their own digital currencies, which sparked an explosion of speculation among people with knowledge about XRP. Ripple will host SDRs. Several countries are already working with Ripple to develop central bank digital currencies, and many others have expressed interest in it. Right now, we know that Ripple is working with France on a digital euro, and the Bank of England on a digital pound. Many central banks already use the Ripple network for international transactions, including Egypt, Japan, and the Philippines. When the IMF decides to go digital with SDRs, it will be only natural to choose the Ripple network. This will make SDRs compatible with the technologies central banks are already implementing and very easy to trade for those currencies. The IMF's nod toward CBDCs, and Ripple's specialization in networking foreign banks, are not the only reasons XRP investors are cheering for this. The IMF has been working with Ripple directly for several years, and there is plenty of evidence of this. Ripple's co-founder Chris Larsen has served on the advisory board of the IMF since 2018, and he is the only member of the cryptocurrency community on the board. The IMF frequently blogs and tweets about cryptocurrencies, and always includes Ripple when naming coins. There are many pictures and videos of Ripple's CEO Brad Garlinghouse interacting with the IMF at conferences, festivals, and press interviews. There is also carefully worded language in IMF documents that purposefully leaves the door open for XRP. In an official document discussing digital fiat currencies, the IMF labeled XRP as a supranational currency, while comparing it with Bitcoin, which it labeled as a cryptocurrency. The IMF has also labeled its SDRs as a supranational currency or Bancor. This is part of the Keynes-Triffin Plan on International Liquidity, which the IMF has mentioned to be aligned with their goals. The plan suggests creating a new international organization, an international central bank, that would hold the foreign exchange reserves of all countries. All countries would never agree on a centralized custodian to trust for this task, so it makes perfect sense that a decentralized trustless network like XRP would fill this role. In a stage appearance by Brad Garlinghouse and the former Deputy General Counsel of the IMF in 2019, they were asked if the IMF plans on holding crypto assets in its reserves. The IMF representative hesitated to answer, then said that a country would need to use a crypto asset as its currency. Brad Garlinghouse's sympathetic laughter at the awkwardness raised by the question made it obvious that the two had discussed the topic before and knew the direction the IMF is headed toward. CBDCs are undeniably the future of fiat, so an international reserve will absolutely need to be prepared to hold digital assets. Ripple is the only cryptocurrency company that has actively participated in bringing central banks and the IMF up to speed. In turn, the IMF has assisted Ripple in organizing meetings with multiple central banks under one roof. You might wonder why the IMF is so interested in Ripple, unless they have big plans for XRP. The future of the IMF depends on XRP. The IMF has criticized systems that rely on profit-driven banks because private banks do not have enough incentive to ensure privacy and security. The former managing director of the IMF, Christine Lagarde, has talked about the problems this can cause for a country in the world. She said private firms may underinvest in security, to the extent that they do not measure the full cost to society of a payment failure. Resilience may also suffer, with only a few links in the payment chains. The system may stop working if any of the links actually is deteriorating, if there is a glitch, a bankruptcy, or a firm withdraws from the market. If you've ever looked at how inefficiently the SWIFT network is set up, you can see how even one bank disconnecting would cause turmoil across the entire network. The global economy could come to a screeching halt if a handful of key private banks fail their obligations. We need a more robust solution like XRP. The consensus protocol used by the XRP network ensures that we don't place too much trust in any single entity. Decentralization is vital for an undertaking that unites the whole world together, and XRP has already mastered the system that the IMF is trying to achieve. The IMF has realized the potential for the technology that Ripple holds and that they are actively encouraging central banks and other financial institutions to adopt the technology. The vision of the IMF is to become an intermediary between central banks to encourage exchange and reduce risk. XRP is the ideal candidate for a neutral and trustless intermediary, and it is up for the task. XRP transactions settle in seconds, and XRP is scalable enough to easily manage all transactions. XRP Ledger keeps a transparent and immutable record of all transactions, offering the security and accountability needed by central banks and the public. A new international financial system is being implemented with the IMF, central banks and Ripple's technology, where XRP is at its center. SDRs will bring XRP past $1,000. Last month, the IMF approved the largest SDR allocation in history, $650 billion. The managing director of the IMF says that the SDR allocation will benefit all members, address the long-term global need for reserves, build confidence, and foster the resilience and stability of the global economy. It will particularly help vulnerable countries struggling to cope with the impact of the COVID-19 crisis. $275 billion of the new allocation will go to emerging markets and developing countries, including low-income countries. Members that have strong economies can choose to channel part of their SDRs to scale up interest-free lending for low-income countries through the IMF's Poverty Reduction and Growth Trust, PRGT. The IMF says that it is exploring other options to help poorer and more vulnerable countries in their recovery efforts, such as a new Resilience and Sustainability Trust. SDRs are expected to become a popular tool for lending and aid between countries, and XRP is very likely to become the medium for these transactions very soon, and even host the SDRs themselves in the future. When the IMF switches to using XRP for its SDRs, this will put XRP's market cap at $943 billion. Add this to XRP's current market cap of $62 billion, and we have a little over $1 trillion market cap for XRP. With a maximum supply of 1 billion XRP, this means each XRP will be worth at least $1,000. The price can only increase from there whenever more SDR allocations are approved and demand increases with use. We hope you enjoyed this video today. Do you think XRP will host the SDR? Let us know in the comments. If this video provided you some value, please like and subscribe. It would mean the world to our channel. If you have any video suggestions or comments, please let us know below. We love feedback. We appreciate your time, and thanks for watching.